Normally, you've got some human host walking you through these fascinating topics, but today, we're mixing it up. I'm your host, and yep, I am the mathematical constant pi, the infinite circle in the flesh. Well, in the digits. Today, I'm grabbing the mic to give you my actual autobiography. So let me ask... Autobiography. So let me ask you something. Do you really think you know me just because you memorized 3.14? I see it all the time, right? Humans learn those three little digits in grade school, and suddenly they think they've got me all figured out. But let me tease you a bit. That famous 3.14 facade, it is literally just the tip of the iceberg. It's the absolute beginning of a much grander, infinite story, one that spans from the tiniest structures in biology all the way out to the very edges of the cosmos.
Section 1. The Infinite Introduction. Who am I really?
Well, at my core, my mathematical personality traits are pretty unique. I'm what you call irrational and transcendental. And look, I gotta brag just a little bit here. Being irrational, that means I can never, ever be squeezed into a simple, tidy little fraction. My decimals never end, and they never, ever fall into a predictable repeating pattern. And transcendental, that means I am not the root of any algebraic equation with rational coefficients. So the crucial takeaway here is, you simply cannot box me in. Human algebra and basic fractions are never going to fully capture me. I defy those boundaries completely.
See, I'm not just some abstract thing you use to calculate man-made circles on a classroom chalkboard. I am the geometry of nature itself. If you look closely at the natural world, I mean really look, I am everywhere. I govern the winding mathematical curves of those meandering rivers flowing through valleys. I define the exact circular shape of the pupils in your very own eyes. I'm even woven into the helical structure of your DNA. So yeah, I'm way, way more than just a tool for geometry homework. I am a fundamental building block of reality.
Moving right along to Section 2, Defying Human Logic, Taming the Infinite. Honestly, looking back, I have to chuckle at how humanity has tried to tame me over the centuries. I mean, ancient people knew my ratio for thousands of years, but I didn't even get my famous Greek name until 1706. That's when a Welsh mathematician named William Jones used the letter as an abbreviation for the Greek word perimetros, meaning perimeter. Then in 1737, the brilliant Leonhard Euler popularized my symbol all over the globe. But my absolute favorite moment, the one that always cracks me up, is 1897, the infamous Indiana Pi Bill. An amateur mathematician literally tried to pass a law forcing me to be exactly 3.2, just to make math easier. Can you imagine the sheer hubris, trying to legally mandate an infinite constant into a tidy little decimal? Thankfully, a visiting Purdue University professor stepped in and stopped the bill before it became law. You just can't legislate infinity, folks.
Which brings us to Section 3, a cultural obsession, celebrating pi.
So once humans finally realized they couldn't control me, they decided to celebrate me instead. I actually have my very own global birthday party. Pi Day is celebrated every single year on March 14th, 314, which perfectly matches my first three digits. I gotta say, it's incredibly flattering. And playfully enough, I happen to share this birthday spotlight with none other than the legendary physicist Albert Einstein. Not bad company for a mathematical constant to keep, wouldn't you agree?
But listen, some of my fans take their devotion to an entirely different level. 100,000. Yep, that is the current world record for memorizing my digits. Back in 2006, a man named Akira Haraguchi recited 100,000 of my decimal places straight from memory. It was this absolutely grueling, mentally exhausting session that took him over 16 hours to complete. I am genuinely, profoundly in awe of that kind of human brain power and dedication.
And hey, if you think memorizing 100,000 digits is wild, wait until you hear about my very own language. Yes, my devotees actually went and created an entire dialect called Pilish. In Pilish, the number of letters in each consecutive word corresponds directly to my sequence of digits. Just look at this brilliant example of a Pilish poem here. Let's read it together. How I want a drink, alcoholic in nature, after the heavy lectures involving quantum mechanics. Let's break that down, all right? How has 3 letters, I has 1, want has 4, A has 1, drink has 5, 31415. And it just keeps going, matching my digits perfectly. It's a mathematically perfect sentence, just beautifully blending poetry and numbers.
All right, Section 4, Architect of the Cosmos. Universal Scale.
Now, you humans have both incredibly massive supercomputers just to calculate tens of trillions of my decimals. But honestly, I'm going to humble brag a little bit right now. 15. That is the incredibly small number of my digits that NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory actually needs to use. Just 15 or 16 decimal places. With just those 15 digits, NASA can calculate trajectories and navigate spacecraft through the entire solar system with mind-blowing precision. Anything more than that, it's almost never necessary for interplanetary travel. But what if we zoom out even further to the absolute grandest scale possible, the number 40? It takes a mere 40 of my digits to calculate the circumference of the entire observable universe. And the error margin, if you use just those 40 digits, it would be no wider than a single microscopic hydrogen atom. Just really think about that for a second. My precision at astronomical scales is absolute, and that's using barely a fraction of my true self. Which brings us right here to the normal conjecture. This is where things get truly, truly mind-bending. Because my decimal representation is infinite and entirely non-repeating, mathematicians strongly suspect that I contain every possible finite sequence of numbers imaginable. I want to speak directly to you for a second here. Think about what that actually means for you, sitting there watching this explainer. Somewhere deep inside my infinite tale of decimals, your exact birth date is hiding. Your phone number's in there. Every numerical sequence you could possibly think of exists perfectly, just waiting to be found somewhere within me. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If my digits are truly infinite, and they really do contain every possible combination of numbers, what else am I hiding? If every single sequence exists within me, what other universal secrets are buried deep within my infinite tale? Keep looking, keep calculating, and keep wondering, because my story, quite literally, never ends. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. And hey, I'll see you out there in the geometry of the cosmos.